PTR's Valuation Scorecard presents an appraisal of AutoNation's potential stock price performance relative to its peer group. The analysis is based on the three key drivers of value: growth, profitability, and risk. AutoNation operates as an automotive retailer in the United States, operating through three segments: domestic, import, and premium luxury. It offers a range of automotive products and services, including new and used vehicles, and parts and services such as automotive repair and maintenance, and wholesale parts and collision services. The company also provides automotive finance and insurance products comprising vehicle services and other protection products. Finally, it arranges finance for vehicle purchases through third-party finance sources. Recently, the company owned and operated 339 new vehicle franchises from 247 stores located primarily in metropolitan markets in the Sun Belt. AutoNation is traded on the New York Stock Exchange with the ticker AN. The company closed trading on July 7th at $171.34 with a market cap of $7.8 billion. Welcome to Price Target Research. I'm John Lafferty. Key AutoNation characteristics are its very high profitability, its above average financial strength, some instability, and below average expected growth. A big positive influence on AutoNation's valuation is its superior profitability. What is the market's view of AutoNation's future operating performance as reflected in the current price of $171? The company's common shares will have to reach $287 to achieve average annual stock market performance of 9% over the next 6 years. To achieve upper quartile performance, AutoNation's stock price will need to reach $338 by 2028. The Quartile Chart is an essential tool in producing PTR's Valuation Scorecard. For each metric included, performance of a company and its peer group is ranked high to low, and quartiles identified. The high end of the bar is top quartile, the bottom end is low quartile, and the line in the middle is median performance. The company's value is determined and converted to a percentile and also plotted with a red dot. Quartile charts are used to help define a company's investment profile. 12 investment variables are used in the analysis, arranged into 4 categories: valuation, growth, profitability, and risk. Instances in which AutoNation's relative position is either top or bottom quartile help give the company its personality or investment profile. AutoNation's investment profile, as you can see, is very sharply outlined. A large number of characteristics stand out: low dividend yield, low PE ratio, high forecasted profitability, high financial leverage, low equity market value, and high expected growth are all extremes. Relative to the S&P 500, AutoNation has moderate growth characteristics. Its appeal is likely to be to capital gain-oriented investors. The company is of an average investment quality, and its valuation is moderate with a low dividend yield, low PE ratio, and moderate price-book ratio. This reflects neutral investor expectations. AutoNation's peer group consists of 14 companies that have very similar operating and investment characteristics. With respect to valuation, the company has very high valuation relative to the peer group and has had average shareholder returns. Current valuation levels are very high relative to the peer group. Recent market returns have tracked the AutoNation peer group. Relative to the S&P 500, AutoNation's overall valuation is pretty low. The highest factor, the price-equity ratio, is slightly above median. The ratio of enterprise value to assets is below median. The ratio of enterprise value to earnings before interest and taxes is lower quartile. And finally, the lowest factor, the ratio of enterprise value to revenue, is lower quartile. Current annual total return performance of 47% is upper quartile relative to the S&P 500. The current 5-year total return performance on an annual basis of 27.6% is also upper quartile relative to the S&P 500 and is pretty outstanding. AutoNation's past growth is moderately above average. Its historical growth has been high relative to the peer group, and its forecasted growth is relatively below average. Revenue growth, earnings growth, asset growth have been superior. These factors have buoyed market perceptions of AutoNation. The company's consensus growth rate forecast, which is the average of Wall Street analysts' expectations, is 14%, in line with the average of historical growth measures. PTR's growth rate forecast of 11% is a little below the consensus and somewhat below the average of the historical growth measures. Profitability has been AutoNation's biggest valuation strength. Return on equity, pre-tax return on assets, pre-tax margin, and asset turnover are all group leading. These factors have strengthened market perceptions of AutoNation. The company has very high excess cash, however, and it'll have to work hard to reinvest at attractive returns to support the current levels of profitability and valuation. Our return on equity forecast is 41.7%, which is below our recent forecasts. There was, however, a dramatic erratic increase between 2014 and 2022, and our forecasts are significantly above the 2019 low of 13%. AutoNation's risk profile is unfavorable. Overall variability has been quite high, with very high revenue variability, high earnings variability, and relatively low stock price volatility. The company's financial strength is only average, but earnings expectations are relatively very high. The debt-to-capital ratio has risen very significantly in recent years. When current earnings expectations are strengthening, a high earnings score results. Conversely, a low earnings score reflects declining expectations. AutoNation's earnings score is 81. This score is relatively very high and indicates increasing investor confidence in its future performance. Relative to AutoNation's peer group, the company's wealth creation profile is favorable. The profile is based on measures of warranted value, appreciation potential, and total shareholder returns. The recent trend in the company's warranted market value is over 60%, which is a very high rate of change, absolutely and certainly relatively. AutoNation's appreciation score of 74 is relatively very high. The company's one-year total return, as mentioned before, of 47% is quite high relative to the market, even though it's average relative to the peer group. The 5-year annualized total return of almost 28% is relatively very high. AutoNation's total shareholder returns are expected to significantly beat the overall market. Based on current investor expectations, the company's shares should reach a level of $496 by 2028, a 19% per year total shareholder return. The 2028 stock price of $287 would reflect median performance, and a price of $338 would be required to reach upper quartile performance. PTR's value trend rating is the overall measure of a stock's attractiveness relative to a universe of all companies traded on North American exchanges. The value trend rating combines the appreciation score that measures a stock's appreciation potential relative to the universe, with 0 being the lowest and 100 the highest, and the power rating that measures its current timeliness, 0 being the lowest again, 100 the highest. High value trend ratings reflect relatively high levels for each of these measures. Low value trend ratings result from low levels for each. Stocks with high value trend ratings are expected to outperform the general market, while stocks with low value trend ratings are expected to underperform. AutoNation has a current value trend rating of A, our highest rating. This rating combines consistent signals from the 2 proprietary PTR measures of a stock's relative attraction. The company has a good appreciation score of 74 and a very high power rating of 92, leading to the highest value trend rating. AutoNation's rating history has been stable. Over the last 41 months, A or B ratings have been the largest category at 95% of the months. During the full 41-month period since March of 2020, AutoNation's value trend rating rose from B to A, but most of the time it's been A. In the recent period, August 2020 and ending currently in July, the company's value trend rating has remained stable at A. Well, that's it for this valuation scorecard for AutoNation. You can find additional company research on our website at pricetargetresearch.com and more videos on youtube.com/pricetargetresearch.